Monday morning. I haven't had to get on this bad boy in over a week. Guess it's go time this morning. Go do something.
Columbia, call 803-253-STOP for an appointment or...
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Been a little while. This is Simon from Grant's Lawn Care on this October 31st. That's right, Halloween. Guys, I did this project just a few days prior to today, but you know, that's the beauty of voiceovers. Once you can sit down and get your thoughts in mind, you can go ahead and put it on your platform. So guys, let's jump into it. Guys, this weather in my area, for it to be late October going into November 1st tomorrow, which is Friday, we are still in short pants, short sleeves, air conditioners running by the afternoon, depending on the morning or the nightly lows. Guys, I don't know who's gonna win this battle this year. And looking at a lot of the forecast descriptions, it looks like a lot of this warm weather is probably gonna last all the way through November. Probably gonna last all the way up until some days in December. So I don't know what to say as far as the weather. I love the weather. I watch a lot of weather videos and study a lot of weather. But guys, this looks like it's gonna be a spring 2.0, depending on where you're at. Now I'm in the South, so yeah, I don't know, man. The grass is trying to grow back. We went about 28 days, 29 days in total without any rainfall after Helene. And we got just a little bit of rain a couple of nights ago. And the grass is trying to come back. You know, it was starting to brown out, thinking it was going to go dormant for the winter. But however, this weather has it confused. But anyway, guys, we're going to jump into this video. Hope you guys sit back and enjoy it. I'll get into why I did this particular video as we go along. So sit back, let me do all of the hard work, let me break a sweat, and I'll catch y'all shortly. Guys, let's jump into it. You know, one of the great things that I love about voiceover is it actually gives you time to process what you may want to talk about in your videos. And I shot this video in a 2-part series, and the voiceover is going to come out, you know, in more days apart than that. But guys, I just wanted to talk about a few things that did take place this same week that were lesson learners per se. And you know, the number one thing that I really want to talk about that happened to me, you know, this will be, I think, the second time it's happened, is making sure that, you know, when your emotions are running high and you're annoyed, you're mad, and whatever the case may be is going on, that whatever physical task that you're doing is done properly. As I was driving down one of the main roads this week, if you follow me on my Instagram, you will realize that I had a breakdown with my mower. When I went outside early that morning to get started, you know, the mower cranked up just fine, got it loaded up, went to the property, started it, and of course I had to cut the mower off to talk to someone. And me thinking normally, hey, my mower is going to crank back up because it's happened not more than, you know, 1,000 times, you know, cutting grass. Somebody comes up and either you cut the mower off to talk to them, or you'll kind of put the mower, you know, at idle and walk away from it and go and talk to the person. But this morning that I decided to cut it off, I went to get back on it, and there was a click, click, click. So okay, tried it again. Click, click, click. I moved all my control arms, trying to make sure my safety features were satisfied, and that they'll let the mower turn over. Tried it again. Click, 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 or even faster click. So now my mind is pounding, and I'm like, man, I just wanted to get to this property and get stuff done so I can move on to the next one. Well, I went and got the battery charger and put it on there, thinking, hey, maybe it's the battery. The battery is a 4-year battery. Shockingly, it lasts that long. And when I hooked the battery charger to it, it was charging, right around 14. I was like, okay, well, the battery should be able to crank it up. So, I mean, there shouldn't be no problem with this much, showing on the battery jumper. Well, I tried it again with the battery jumper on there. Silence. So by this point, I went and got, a winch and pretty much winched my mower on the trailer. And the impatience in me, I pulled the mower on the trailer with the winch, but I did not pull it all the way to the front of the trailer as I have always been doing. So forwarding in the story, I'm driving down the road, right about 55, 60. All feels good. The trailer's pulling just fine. I'm the normal drive. I mean, you know how it is when you pull in a trailer with your lawnmower. I mean, you're constantly looking back, making sure you're not losing anything, or your tailgate didn't malfunction. Looking to see whether traffic's up on your tail. Because you got to be careful of the other motorists, because they'll ride up on you, and you pulling that trailer, you can't stop on a dime when you got weight behind you. So I get about 8 miles maybe away from the property that I was cutting on, because I had my mower loaded up, taking it to somebody to look at it, to put a tester on there to test my solenoid or my starter or to check the battery. But anyway, I got down the road about 8 miles away from where I was cutting at. And guys, when I tell you, I must have hit the right bump at the right time of the road. Well, let me rephrase that. I hit the right bump at the wrong time, but at a good time, because when I tell you guys, that trailer popped up off of that ball and it slung me from lane number 1 to lane number 2 to lane number 1 back to lane number 2. Then finally, when I got back to lane number 1, after the weight was shifting on the trailer, trying to stay behind the truck because I had my chains hooked up, guys, I went for a ride. And luckily, if you guys went through any driver's training or whatnot, they tell you, if you lose the control, and you can manage to not fight the steering wheel, just let the vehicle kind of straighten out on its own and level off. Don't hit the brakes. Just let the vehicle kind of coast out, and hopefully it'll level out. Guys, when I tell you, I ended up letting that vehicle finally coast out after going from lane to lane, left to right, left to right, left to right. When I got stopped in a turnaround in the main highway, for one, I was blessed to be on a 4-lane highway, and for two, I was blessed that the traffic was at a bare minimum. But there were vehicles behind me, and when I finally got stopped and I got out of my truck, my trailer had already smashed into the back of my truck. There was a lady in a vehicle behind me, and she just pulled up and stopped. We were in the middle of a busy road at this point, because it's a 4-lane and it can get busy, slow. But at this time, it wasn't terribly busy, but there were enough cars coming, and she was the only one directly behind me. And when I finally, I got out of my truck to look back at the trailer, see what was going on, gather my thoughts, she pulled up and said, "Oh my God," she said, "I just knew you were about to lose it." She said, that was one of the scariest things she ever saw in her life. She kept asking me, was I okay? What happened? At first, when I first stopped and I got out, the way I had my truck and trailer positioned, it looked like there was some rubber under my tires. So I was thinking, okay, I done had a blowout. That's what happened. Well, lo and behold, the tires, the trailer, I just got the trailer literally about 2 months ago now, maybe. the tires had a little bit of wear on them, but it wasn't even drastic. I mean, it was just, you can tell somebody's been using the trailer. But I thought the way I parked, there's a lot of tire debris, and I guess when the trailer came to its final rest, the tire stopped right on a piece of an old rubber. So I was like, man, I said, I'm fine. I said, it looked like I had a blowout. So I had enough strength. Luckily, the lawnmower was still in the rear of the trailer at this point, so the most of the weight was at the back. So I just took my time, got my trailer lifted back up on the ball, relocked and secured it, and I went down the road and pulled over at another safe spot and looked at it, and I was like, my goodness, like that's something I don't want happening again. And I say all of that, telling you guys this story, on how my Friday really just didn't go great. And that could have been worse than what it was. The back of my truck got dented up. My bumpers more so per se got dented up. But I'm saying all of that to say, guys, sometimes just an extra few minutes to do what you've been doing the right way will save you some type of tragedy, some type of incident from occurring that could cause you, great bodily harm or even death, because that could have flipped my truck. Luckily I had the chains on it, so the chains kept it where it was supposed to be. It continued to follow the direction of the truck. So when the truck went to the left, the trailer was going to the right, because it's still, the speed I was going, that trailer was still going that same speed. And it had the weight of the mower on there constantly, pushing it. So, guys, I know this story is getting a little bit long, and I'm going to wrap it up here. Guys, myself, I'm strongly guilty of it. Patience. When we are already, set in our ways to get out and say, hey, I want to get a job done, and we get out here and our equipment lets us down in the field, guys, it's going to trigger an emotion of it's just going to do that. It's going to trigger a strong reaction of and that's just reality. I mean, granted, there are more people out there that got their, response to things like that in check, and they be like, okay, well, I'll get on another mower for those who have a backup mower, or whatever the case may be, or whatever the piece of equipment is that is breaking down. People are just going to get the next thing. Well, some of us, we just don't have it like that, and sometimes that adds fuel to the fire, because you're like, man, I got to get these jobs done, and here this piece of equipment is showing off on me in the field. And it's not a good feeling, because not only do you pull up to a property expecting to get things done, your customer is also. So for you to have to go and do that walk of shame and say, hey, this happened, that happened, I'll try to get back to you whenever I get the repairs done. Some customers are understanding, and then you have some that aren't understanding. So, guys, packing patience is the key to this video. And I have to do better myself about it, because luckily I was blessed to avoid a major tragedy. The second time my trailer came off was a whole totally different circumstance. I was pulling out of my driveway, and I didn't have a lock in the hitch. This was like 2 years ago. I didn't have a lock in the hitch. I just had like a bolt and a nut through the hole. Well, my driveway kind of humps up, then bounces down back onto the highway, and I went up over the hump, and I guess it wasn't latched all the way down, is all I can say. Kapoom, it popped off right in the driveway. Little to no damage. But look at what happened to me on the main road, and the damage isn't terrible. My bumper is just, my truck officially really looks like a work truck now in the back. But guys, take something from this story. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Like, share, and comment to the channel if you haven't already. I'll catch y'all on the next one. Practice patience. It'll save you in the long run. This is Simon from Grant's Lawn Care. Peace.